It's not really something that is unique to people approaching or in their fourth quarter. In fact, I've got some clients who are in their early 30s who are wise enough early enough to see that living life by design greatly improves the fulfillment in today while at the same time mitigating future regret. So if you're in your second quarter and you're building your life, that's one of the best times to do it. But as the old saying goes, there are two good times to plant a tree. One is 20 years ago, and the other best time is today.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Mind My Age, the podcast where we dive into the science and stories behind healthier aging. I'm your host, Neelam Brar, and today we're exploring how to live life by design rather than by default. Our guest is Scott Couchenour, founder of Serving Strong, a transitions coach who specializes in guiding people through life's major shifts, especially as they approach or enter their fourth quarter. That you've developed a framework that includes 6 hallmarks for a fantastic life. Can you walk us through these hallmarks and explain how they work together to create a fulfilling life, especially for those that are listening and might be approaching their fourth quarter or they're in their fourth quarter?
Sure, let me define fourth quarter first. If you take that lifespan of 80 years and break it into 4 20-year segments, the first 20 years is what I call our learning quarter. We're going to school, we're being nurtured. Then we enter our second quarter, which is our 20s and 30s, and I call that our building quarter. We build our family, our career, our name, our financial condition, and all that. And then we enter the third quarter, which is our 40s and 50s, which I call the reaping quarter. We begin to reap the things we have built in our second quarter. And then we start to enter our fourth quarter, which is our 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. And so that's what I mean by the fourth quarter. 6 hallmarks of a fantastic fourth quarter. The first one is being spiritually anchored. Whatever that means to you, to be spiritually anchored, that's the central part of the 6 hallmarks. All the other 5 branch out from there. Then we take a look at our physical fitness. How are we taking care of ourselves physically, stretching, increasing our core strength? Then we move over to relational richness. How rich are the relationships? And I think that's one of the most important things about growing older and into your fourth quarter. We were born for community. And I think the importance of our relational richness takes a very prominent part in living a fulfilling fourth quarter. Then we move over to emotional health and all that means. How are we dealing with this space between our ears and how we have our outlook on life? The other 2 are related to work and finances, vocational alignment. I call that in particular vocational alignment for a purpose because I define vocation not so much in terms of what we do for a living or for a paycheck, whether it's a W-2 or a 1099. I define vocation as what you give your time, energy, and attention to. And so that can change as we go through stages of life, like a business owner who sells their business or closes or retires, whatever the transition in business, that vocation shifts. And I think a lot of the struggle that business owners face when they exit their business is that they now become vocationally misaligned. And you combine that with the identity and how we attach our identity to what we do, that becomes a very difficult season. So the importance is becoming vocationally aligned, finding that next thing that you can give your time and energy and attention to. And then the last one is being financially free. That has to do with your income, your savings, your retirement fund, all those sorts of things. But I want to make a distinction. Going back up to the relational richness, there's a reason I choose rich in relationships and freedom in finances. I don't talk about financial richness I talk about financial freedom, and that's totally different. It's not a trying to build your financial rich wealth, because that is not as important as we get older. What's important is how rich your relationships are. And so those six hallmarks become pillars for a strategic plan. And the strategic plan is how we live intentionally. Now, they're interdependent. Think of them like systems in our body. They each represent a very specific part of our existence. But if one suffers, the others suffer to a degree. If we can improve in one, then we can improve the others. For example, if I can reduce all of my debt, which is our financial free hallmark, then that will make me feel better, which improves my emotional health. When I'm emotionally healthy, I am more likely to be present in the moment with my relationships. So my relational richness increases. So when I think about reducing debt, I'm indirectly improving my emotions and my relationships. That's the interdependence of these six hallmarks.
So would say that having those 6 pillars is and being aware of them, it's something that we should be starting at as early as possible in our lives so that we can start, framing our intentions in a way that, serve us and can help us grow and feel good about life. What is the right time to start thinking about this?
Uh, if you're listening to this podcast now, it's not really something that is unique to people approaching or in their fourth quarter. In fact, I've got some clients who are in their early 30s who are wise enough early enough to see that living life by design greatly improves the fulfillment in today while at the same time mitigating future regret. So if you're in your second quarter and you're building your life, that's one of the best times to do it. But as the old saying goes, there are two good times to plant a tree. One is 20 years ago, and the other best time is today.
You emphasize execution in your coaching, particularly through the what you call the 90-day sprints, which I like because I think time-bound goals that are quick and easy to understand are sometimes really used for people that feel overwhelmed. Can you explain how these sprints work and how they can help someone really achieve their goals, especially when they're going through major life transitions?
First of all, I would make a distinction between 90-day sprints and a year's goal. 90 days compresses 12 months into 12 weeks of work. I love this because if I had a year goal and I start out in January, say with a resolution that by the end of the year, I'm going to lose 30 pounds, say, in all likelihood, I'm going to come to November around Thanksgiving and I'm going to say, oh crap, I've only got a few weeks to do what I said I was going to do in January, right? The longer a goal sits out there, the more likely we push it and kick the can down the road. So a 90-day sprint, which actually 90 days is 13 weeks, but you act for 12 weeks. And then on the 13th week, you do a review, and I'll address that in a moment. But 90 days is long enough out there that the goal becomes significant enough that you have to do some work every week and sometimes every day, depending on the goal and the actions related to achieve that goal.
So, what advice would you give somebody listening today who's feeling stuck or uncertain or unfulfilled about their next phase of life?
Start with something that you're not happy with in your life. Just pick something you're not, write it down, begin to journal, begin to develop. If this thing was resolved, what would my life look like? And then take action, get the car rolling. As the old adage says, you can't steer a car until it's moving. So you get yourself moving to improve on that one simple thing that you don't like, and then build from there. Then pick another thing and another thing. And before long, you're developing your strategy.
Scott, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. For our listeners, if you want to explore how to live life by design and navigate life's transitions in confidence, stay tuned to Mind My Age for more insights. And remember, age with purpose and intention, because your best years are still ahead.